You scroll through social media and see someone you know achieving the success you've been dreaming of. Better job, better health, more money, more freedom. And quietly, you wonder why their life is moving forward while yours feels stuck. The truth is, they aren't necessarily smarter or more talented. They've simply learned how to use their time with focus while you keep letting days slip by. That's exactly what the 12-week year is about. It's a system that teaches you how to stop wasting time, break free from the trap of annualized thinking, and finally, achieve in 12 weeks what most people take a year or more to accomplish. In this audiobook summary, you'll discover how to focus on the goals that really matter, how to build urgency into your daily routine, and how to create momentum so strong that procrastination no longer controls you. Stay with me until the end, because these ideas might be the key to ensuring you don't waste another year of your life. Redefining the year. Most people live with what we call annualized thinking. It's the belief that because a year feels long, you'll always have time to catch up later. If you don't do much in January, that's fine. There are still 11 months left. Miss February? No problem. You can make it up in March. And on it goes, until the year is nearly gone and you realize you've drifted far from your goals. That mindset might feel comfortable, but it quietly destroys momentum and keeps you from performing at your best. Now think about what happens at the end of every year. Suddenly, people become more focused, more driven, and far less tolerant of wasting time. Why? Because the deadline is looming. Companies know this rush well. Employees push harder in November and December than they did in the first half of the year. The looming end creates urgency, and urgency kills procrastination. The tragedy is that most people only work at this level when the year is already slipping away. What if you could carry that same energy all year long? That's the promise of the 12-week year. Instead of giving yourself 12 months to accomplish something, you compress the time frame into just 12 weeks. This creates a natural deadline that's close enough to feel urgent, yet long enough to achieve real results. The idea actually borrows from sports. Athletes use a training technique called periodization, where they focus on one skill or one area of strength for a set period, usually 4 to 6 weeks, before moving on to the next. By concentrating their efforts, they improve faster and more effectively. The 12-week year applies this same principle to life and business. It teaches you to focus on the actions that truly matter every single day, so your efforts build toward meaningful results. When you adopt this mindset, you stop hiding behind the illusion of having plenty of time. Every week counts, every day counts, and there's no room for bad habits to drag on for months. You start living with intention, measuring progress more often, and celebrating victories at the end of each cycle. Best of all, after each 12-week sprint, you can pause, recharge, and begin again with renewed energy and focus. The point is simple. If you treat every 12 weeks as a year, you'll never again fall into the trap of waiting for someday. You'll create urgency, build momentum, and make sure that not another year of your life slips quietly through your fingers. Throw out the annual plan. Planning is not a waste of time. In fact, it is one of the smartest investments you can make in yourself and your future. A well-structured plan keeps you from drifting, it prevents costly mistakes, and it gives you a clear path forward. Yet here's the problem. Most people rely on annual plans, and annual plans almost always fail. Why? Because a year is too long. Life changes, priorities shift, and the further out your goals are, the easier it becomes to postpone them. At the beginning of January, people are excited and motivated, but by February or March, that excitement fades. Soon, the plan you created for 12 months is either forgotten or so watered down with changes that it barely resembles your original vision. This is where the 12-week year shines. Instead of dragging your goals across 12 long months, you compress the time frame into just 12 weeks. Think of it like celebrating New Year's Day every 3 months. Each cycle gives you a fresh start, new energy, and renewed focus. You don't wait for January 1st to reinvent yourself. You get 4 new years every single year. The advantages are huge. First, a 12-week plan is more reliable because it's short and specific. It's far less likely to be disrupted by unexpected changes. You know exactly what you need to do this week, and you can connect your daily actions directly to results you'll see in just 3 months. Second, it's more focused. Annual goals often sprawl into long lists of things you hope to accomplish someday. But in a 12-week plan, there isn't room for vague wishes. You zero in on 1 or 2 important priorities, and you stay locked on them. That clarity alone can be life-changing. And third, the structure of a 12-week plan forces consistency. Too often, annual planning becomes an exercise in writing down dreams without ever following through. But with 12-week planning, execution is built into the design. The short time frame pushes you to act because the deadline is always close. Of course, not every plan is effective. The goal is not to overcomplicate things with endless details. The best plans strike a balance between simplicity and direction. You start by setting a clear 12-week goal that moves you closer to your long-term vision. Then you break that goal into tactics, the small, specific daily actions that drive results. For example, if your goal is to save $10,000 in 12 weeks, you'll outline the exact steps you'll take each week to get there. If your goal is to lose 10 pounds, you'll define the workouts, meals, and habits that will make it happen. Once you begin planning this way, something powerful happens. You stop hiding behind the illusion of having plenty of time. You learn to prioritize, to act with urgency, and to replace procrastination with progress. That's the real gift of the 12-week year. It doesn't just give you a plan, it gives you momentum. And momentum is what makes sure you don't waste another year of your life. 1 week at a time. Vision alone won't change your life. You can dream of success, imagine new possibilities, and even write them down. But unless you act, nothing will happen. Action is where transformation begins. And that's why the 12-week year isn't built on big ideas alone. It's built on execution, week by week, day by day. The secret is the weekly plan. Think of it as the bridge between your long-term vision and your daily actions. Every week becomes a chance to refocus, to decide what matters most right now, and to break your larger goals into steps you can actually accomplish. A good weekly plan doesn't overwhelm you with dozens of tasks. It highlights the few that will make the biggest difference, so you can give them your best energy. Each week, you pause for a few minutes, reflect on the progress you made, and plan for the days ahead. This rhythm keeps you from drifting and keeps distractions at bay. And when you stick to your weekly plan, something powerful happens. Your days stop being random, and they start lining up with your vision for the future. But here's the truth. You can't improve what you don't measure. That's where the weekly scorecard comes in. At first, measuring your actions might feel uncomfortable. No one likes to see where they fell short. But instead of hurting your confidence, it actually builds it. You start to see proof of your effort. You begin to notice where you're strong, and you spot the areas where small changes can lead to big improvements. The weekly scorecard tracks how well you executed the key actions in your plan. It's not about being perfect, it's about being honest. If you performed poorly one week, don't treat it as failure, treat it as feedback. That feedback becomes fuel. It tells you exactly where to adjust so you can get back on track. Some people give up the moment they see a disappointing score, but the most successful people use that discomfort as motivation. They don't waste time beating themselves up. They adapt, refine, and keep moving forward. And in a 12-week year, there's no room to hide behind the excuse of, "I'll do better next month." Every week matters, every action counts. When you embrace this process, progress becomes constant. You stop waiting for someday, and instead you create momentum, 1 week at a time. That's how you make sure another year of your life doesn't slip away unnoticed. The execution system. The 12-week year isn't just an idea. It's a system, a framework designed to help you perform at your best every single day. It gives you the tools to focus on what truly matters, eliminate distractions, and channel your energy toward meaningful results. At its core, this system is built on 3 guiding principles and 5 disciplines. Together, they form the foundation for extraordinary achievement. The first principle is accountability. True accountability isn't about blame. It's about ownership. It's the recognition that your choices shape your future. Every day you have the freedom to act or to drift, to push forward or to procrastinate. When you hold yourself accountable, you stop making excuses and start asking, what else can I do to get closer to my goal? That mindset changes everything. The second principle is commitment. Commitment is more than good intentions. It's the promise you make to yourself and the discipline to keep that promise. When you stay committed, even when it's inconvenient, you strengthen your character. And when results come, the satisfaction is so much greater because you know it was your persistence that made it possible. The third principle is greatness in the moment. Greatness doesn't happen at the finish line. It happens in the choices you make right now, in the effort you bring to this day, this task, this moment. Extraordinary results are simply the visible proof of the greatness you practiced all along. Now let's turn to the 5 disciplines, the practical elements that bring the 12-week year to life. The first discipline is vision. A compelling vision is the engine that keeps you moving. When you know exactly what you're striving toward, you're far more likely to stay committed even when the road gets hard. The second discipline is planning. But unlike traditional yearly planning, this is short, sharp, and actionable. A good 12-week plan outlines the essential steps you must take week by week to move steadily toward your vision. The third discipline is process control. It's about using tools, systems, and routines to keep yourself aligned with the actions that matter most. This isn't about being busy, it's about being strategic. The fourth discipline is measurement. Numbers don't lie. By tracking your actions and results, you stay grounded in reality. Measurement gives you honest feedback, and that feedback is what allows you to improve. And the fifth discipline is time use. Time is the one resource you can never get back. Managing your time wisely, directing it toward your true priorities, is the difference between progress and regret. Every wasted hour is a piece of your life you don't get to live again. But here's the challenge. Whenever you try to change, you enter what's known as the emotional cycle of change. Understanding this cycle is critical because it explains why so many people give up too soon. It begins with uninformed optimism. At this stage, everything feels exciting. You picture only the benefits of change. But soon, you reach informed pessimism. The work gets harder, doubts creep in, and you begin to wonder if the change is worth it. Push through, and you'll find yourself in the valley of despair. This is where most people quit. The discomfort feels heavier than the potential reward, and giving up seems easier than going on. But if you stay committed, you'll enter informed optimism. This is when results begin to appear, when your effort starts to pay off, and when hope returns. Finally, you reach success and fulfillment. The habits that once felt uncomfortable are now part of your identity, and you get to enjoy the rewards of your persistence. The 12-week year is a closed system, meaning it contains everything you need to succeed. Principles to guide your mindset, disciplines to guide your actions, and tools to measure and refine your progress. It forces you to stay focused because the time frame is short, and short time frames create urgency. That urgency keeps you from drifting, from wasting weeks or months, and from losing another year of your life to procrastination. When you embrace all of these elements together, vision, planning, process, measurement, time use, and the principles of accountability, commitment, and greatness in the moment, you create a system that makes high performance inevitable. And that's the power of the 12-week year. It doesn't just improve how you work, it transforms how you live. Develop your 12-week plan. Now that you understand the power of the 12-week year, it's time to create your own plan. This is where ideas turn into action and where dreams finally gain structure. Some people hesitate to plan. They tell themselves it's too much effort, or they believe they already know what they want, so why bother writing it down? But here's the truth. Without a clear plan, it's far too easy to get distracted, to forget what matters, and to drift back into old habits. A plan doesn't waste time, it saves it, because it shows you exactly where to put your focus. Consider Kevin. He was juggling school, a part-time job, and soccer practice, and he constantly felt overwhelmed. His father introduced him to the 12-week plan, and Kevin quickly discovered its value. With a clear structure, his grades improved, he managed his commitments better, and he grew more determined to reach his goals. Another example is Patrick. At first, he used the 12-week year to get healthier and lose weight. But when he saw how effective it was, he applied the same system to his startup. He and his team created a detailed 100-page document, navigated the legal approvals, and raised their first round of funding, all within 12 weeks. Investors were impressed, not just by the results, but by the speed and focus of his team. That momentum carried forward into every new project, and it became a defining strength of his company. Stories like these prove that a 12-week plan can be a game changer. Unlike vague annual resolutions, it forces you to break down your vision into specific actions that lead to visible results. So how do you build one? First, start with a clear and inspiring goal. It should excite you, challenge you, and feel meaningful enough to push you into action. Keep it specific and achievable. Don't write it as a negative. Focus on what you want to create, not what you want to avoid. Next, break that goal into smaller actions. Think about the key steps that will move you forward, and assign deadlines for each. If you're working with a team, divide responsibilities clearly so everyone knows their role. This not only creates accountability, but also builds momentum as progress is tracked week by week. A simple plan is better than a perfect plan. Focus on 1 or 2 areas where you want to make real progress in the next 12 weeks. Write down your main goal, outline the actions that matter most, and map them to specific weeks. Each step should feel doable, but together they should push you closer to your larger vision. If you're a leader, encourage your team members to do the same. When everyone has their own 12-week plan tied to a shared vision, the results multiply. Teams become more engaged, more focused, and more productive. So don't wait until another year passes you by. Begin now. Write down your first 12-week goal, map out the steps, and commit to following through. By adopting this method, you'll not only make meaningful progress toward your long-term dreams, you'll finally break free from the cycle of procrastination that steals years away. 12-week commitments. Commitment is one of the most powerful principles of the 12-week year. It isn't just a goal or a wish, it's a promise you make to yourself, a vow that no matter what distractions appear, you will stay on the path toward success. Commitment is the glue that holds your vision together when things get hard. Take the story of Mick White. His commitment wasn't about business or money. It was about calling his mother every weekend. It sounded simple, almost too small to matter. But week after week, for 88 weeks, he kept his promise. Those phone calls became a lifeline, deepening their relationship and filling his life with moments of joy. And then, unexpectedly, his mother passed away. Looking back, Mick realized those 88 weeks were priceless. His simple commitment gave him memories and connection he would cherish forever. It was proof that even the smallest promise, if honored consistently, can change a life. Commitments come in 2 forms: the promises you make to yourself and the promises you make to others. Personal commitments like quitting smoking, exercising daily, or writing for an hour each morning are the ones that shape your growth. Breaking them weakens your confidence, while keeping them strengthens your character. But let's be honest, sometimes commitments are hard to keep. That's because of hidden intentions. Maybe you want to lose weight, but deep down you still love indulging in your favorite foods. Or you promise yourself to wake up early, but secretly you don't want to give up late-night scrolling. These unspoken desires can quietly sabotage your progress. Recognizing them is the first step to overcoming them. So how do you make a commitment that lasts for 12 weeks? Start simple. Write down the goal you want to achieve. Then outline the actions required to reach it. Think honestly about the trade-offs. If you commit to daily workouts, it might mean less time watching TV or hanging out with friends. Finally, choose the actions you are willing to take no matter what. Those actions become your 12-week commitments, and they are non-negotiable. Commitments to others are just as important. When you give your word, you are giving your trust. Breaking those promises not only damages relationships, it damages your integrity. That's why it's better to say no up front than to agree and later disappoint. Saying no feels uncomfortable in the moment, but it protects your credibility in the long run. Staying consistent requires a shift in mindset. Learn to focus on long-term benefits instead of short-term comfort. Commitments often feel inconvenient in the moment, but over time they build strength, character, and confidence. Every time you follow through, even when it's hard, you're proving to yourself that you can be trusted. In a team environment, commitments are even more powerful. When everyone honors their promises, trust grows, relationships strengthen, and productivity soars. By keeping your word, you're setting an example for others to do the same, and that creates a culture of accountability and confidence. Ultimately, your commitments form the foundation of your success. They shape who you are and how others see you. Whether it's a small personal promise or a major professional goal, every fulfilled commitment moves you forward. When you stay true to your word, you're not just avoiding procrastination, you're building a life of trust, growth, and lasting achievement.
Your first 12 weeks. Success is never instant. It doesn't happen overnight, and it doesn't appear just because you wish for it. It comes from pushing through challenges, especially the ones inside your own mind. That's why the first 12 weeks of your journey are so important. They shape your discipline, your habits, and your momentum. One of the biggest obstacles you'll face is the pull of instant gratification. It's human nature to want the quick reward, the comfort of food, the distraction of entertainment, the ease of delaying hard work until tomorrow. But chasing short-term comfort always costs you long-term success. The 12-week year helps you break free from that trap by keeping your vision close and tangible. Instead of vague dreams in the distance, your goals are broken down into clear actions you must take now. Another common challenge is trying to juggle too many goals at once. When you spread yourself thin, your motivation drains quickly and stress takes over. That's why the 12-week year insists on focus. For each cycle, you choose just 1 or 2 goals that matter most. You pour your energy into them, and by doing so, you build confidence, clarity, and momentum. Achieve one, and then move on to the next. Some people, however, see obstacles as final. They believe problems have no solutions, and so they give up, telling themselves they're victims of circumstance. But that mindset only guarantees failure. The truth is, you always have the power to control your thoughts, your actions, and your effort. And when you use that power wisely, no obstacle can stop you. Take Casey, for example. At first, he didn't take the 12-week year seriously. He thought he already knew enough about success, but his results kept disappointing him. Eventually, he decided to give the system a real try. During his first 12 weeks, everything began to change. He started valuing his time more, structuring his business activities, and seeing tangible progress. When he entered his second 12-week cycle, the results multiplied. His growth was undeniable. The rhythm of the first 12 weeks matters. The first 4 weeks are all about your jumpstart. This is when you lock in your habits and create the foundation for success. Stay consistent with your weekly goals, because they set the tone for the weeks to come. The second 4 weeks are often the hardest. This is when your initial excitement fades and the work begins to feel heavier. Many people lose steam here. But if you stay committed, this period becomes a turning point. It's when you learn to adjust, refine your plan, and build resilience. The final 4 weeks are your sprint to the finish. Here you review the lessons learned, double down on what works, and push hard to complete the cycle strong. And when you cross that finish line, you don't just get results. You gain confidence in yourself and in the system. Then comes the hidden gift of the 12-week year, the 13th week. This isn't for cramming in unfinished tasks. It's a time to pause, reflect, and celebrate. You recharge your energy, recognize how far you've come, and then step into the next 12 weeks renewed. When you live this way, every quarter becomes a chance to reset and grow. You're no longer waiting for the calendar year to change before you act. You're creating change right now. Over time, these cycles compound and you achieve results you once thought were impossible. The lesson is clear. Don't wait for the perfect time. Begin your first 12 weeks now, because the sooner you start, the sooner you'll realize that you never had to waste another year of your life. You've now discovered the essence of the 12-week year, a system that breaks you free from the trap of annualized thinking, where time slips away and goals get pushed into someday. Instead of waiting for another January to start fresh, the 12-week year invites you to treat every 12 weeks as a brand new year filled with focus, urgency, and purpose. We explored how weekly planning keeps you grounded in the present, ensuring your days align with your vision. We saw how measuring your progress with tools like the weekly scorecard gives you feedback to grow stronger week after week. You learned that execution is everything, that success isn't about what you know, but what you consistently do. With the 3 principles of accountability, commitment, and greatness in the moment, and the 5 disciplines of vision, planning, process control, measurement, and time use, you now hold a complete system for action. You also learned how to build your own 12-week plan, how to focus on just a few goals that truly matter, and how to create commitments strong enough to carry you through challenges. And you saw through real stories how this system transforms not only businesses and careers, but also relationships and personal growth. Most importantly, you now understand the power of the first 12 weeks. The habits you build, the focus you sharpen, and the persistence you practice in that short span will set the tone for everything that follows. Then comes the 13th week, the pause, the reflection, and the celebration before beginning again, stronger and sharper than before. But here's the truth. None of this matters if you don't act. Knowledge without action changes nothing. The 12-week year only works when you decide to start, not tomorrow, not next month, and certainly not next year. Start today, because time is slipping by. Another year is nearly gone. Don't let it disappear without progress. Don't waste another year of your life. Take hold of the next 12 weeks. Commit fully, and see how much you can truly achieve when you stop waiting and start living with urgency. And that brings us to the end of this audiobook summary of the 12-week year. Now, the real question is, what will you do with the next 12 weeks of your life? Remember, knowledge without action changes nothing. The clock is ticking, and every day you wait is a day you don't get back. So start now. Choose your focus, commit to your plan, and let urgency drive you forward. If you found value in this summary, make sure to subscribe to Summary Villa for more life-changing books on success, wealth, mindset, productivity, and personal growth. Share this with someone who needs a push to stop wasting time, and let's grow together. Thank you for listening, and here's to making your next 12 weeks the most powerful yet.